on the management side, it's more strategic. So if you're wanting to go that route, what is it that you're doing to start being and learning more and doing more strategic things? So I bring that up there just to show you that, keep learning, keep going through. All right, I'm going to spend a lot of time on this slide because this is the stuff I think out of my deck that you guys will probably like to hear, and I'll go through models and ways of doing this. So what I'm going to do is I'll go through each one of these, and I'll just kind of poll the audience. If you guys want me to go deep into it, I will. If not, we'll blow by it, okay? These are the strategies that I would say I use on a regular basis. When somebody says, what is it that you do that makes you different than any of the other recruiters out there, or different than somebody that's out searching Monster Recruit Builder, this is some of the stuff right here, okay? What I would tell you is the ERP blast. It's very basic, but something that I do is, and Dennis is in the back, he knows we just recommended this for our customer in Chicago just within the last, 2-3 weeks? So the idea behind employee referral, and this is good for internal corporate recruiting, but we'll figure out a way to spin it if you're on the outside, on the agency side. So what I'll do is today, I'm going to try to say if you're on the agency side, I'll be telling you, how you can leverage in this, on the corporate side, how you can do it. But the employee referral program is basically one where you define it in a basic one PowerPoint slide, give it to the highest ranking officer that you can get, whether it's a chief marketing officer, whether it's a president, whether it's somebody you know that's going to open that email, the employees will open it, and then have them send it out to all the employees with exactly what you're looking for. And so basically what you're doing, you're branding and you're marketing your employee referral program to your internal employees. Because unfortunately what happens is even though the employee referral program is one of our biggest ways of getting candidates, but unfortunately, a lot of times we get candidates that we don't actually need. You're getting candidates that are off target. So it's always great to give them a gentle reminder, right? And so what I would tell you is that, Dennis, sorry I keep calling it out, but I mean, it's been paying off already. Plus, what happens is when you get the senior executive involved, they start modifying the program to help you. So if they say, hey, we're going to do something a little bit different right now, we went from $1,500, normally what we pay, up to $5,000 for an employee referral until September 30th. So by getting the president, getting the chief marketing officer involved, we were able to do that stuff. So I share that with you. Feel free to take that and all these ideas I want you guys to do. Who's heard me talk about Sit, Source, Remind before? A couple people. Has anybody used it? Yeah? Has it worked?
I do it typically anyway, and it does work, yeah.
Yeah. And this is something that I think many people inherently will do, but it's more of a model of here's a perfect way to go about it. What I typically do is, let's say, take, for instance, marketing, or take, for instance, sales. What you would do is talk to the hiring manager and say, who are your top 2 or 3 people that you've recently hired? Who are they? What do they do? So from that point, of course, if they let you talk to them, right, and start, what you do is go through, find out what company they're from, find out a little bit about their background, what companies they used to work for, and where they've been. If you need to use LinkedIn, go for it. Then what you do is find those companies and then use whatever you need to. LinkedIn, if you have access to Zoom Info, you have access to just whatever via the web, try to get names from those companies. So what happens is you go in and you're having these conversations with the employee and you say, hey, who do you know that would be good for this job, right? And they always go, well, I don't know anybody that's looking, right? How many of you get that one? Yeah, all the time. And especially if you're sourcing or doing any type of recruiting, cold calling, or a warm call into somebody. I don't know anybody. Well, then what I do is I not only sit down with my sourcing, but then I remind them with this list. Hey, you worked with this person over there. How would you rate them on the stoplight? Would you say they're a green, yellow, or a red? Green means we want to go after them. Yellow is, don't know them, or there's a question. Red is like steer clear. So what we then do is put together like a CRM or like an Excel spreadsheet, more or less, and then we go after those candidates that the top tier candidates have said, go after these people. Okay? I mean, it's pretty basic common sense, right? But if you start putting it into the model that you leverage, it's a very good process. Stock the pond. basically the process that I use on this one is I'll use same kind of situation, except I won't just use employee referrals, or I won't just use somebody I'm targeting. I will go into, whether it be Monster, whether it be my applicant tracking system, whether it be our customer relationship management system, I will go in and I will find anyone that seems to be a very good fit for this role. Then what I'll do is take them out, targeted mailers, you guys probably all do these, right? Send them a link to your job. Now, the big piece though is that how many of you guys use pre-screen questions on your jobs? Yeah? Few. What I tend to do is put in pre-screening questions against my requisitions. So basically what I'm doing is stocking my pond, as I call it, so my job pool. So what I'm doing is I'm tapping all these people in the shoulder. The email that you send to them has to be scripted up pretty well that says, hey, I was doing a search in my resume database. Your background seemed to be a match. Don't say that, hey, I think you're a good candidate for this job. But that's where I invite them to come back. I get a lot of great passive candidates that way, people who had applied in the past. If you go out to Monster's opening up their system to now be, you can search all the way back a year, you can search back a little bit further instead of just 60, 90 days, right? So go back as far as you can there, pull some candidates in, pipe them into your jobs, all right? A lot of this stuff is basic common sense. You guys are probably all going, hey, I already do this stuff, but I just want to give you, just in case. Boomerangs, alumni, I always ask the hiring manager in my, kind of our kickoff calls that, hey, who are some people that have left? Who are some regrettable losses? Who are some other people? You guys probably do that as well as on your rec intake calls or your rec intake meetings, but it's a simple question. If you always remember, it's like, why the hell go through this whole 2-3 week interview process, going out and finding candidates, going on these big search campaigns when they'll tell you who the best person ever was, they went across the street, and then all you have to do is reach out to them real quick and say, it's okay, we do want you back. They're waiting for that shoulder tap sometimes. Sometimes they don't think that it's okay to come back. Silver medalist, who knows what this is? Couple?
Person that almost got the job but didn't get the offer.
Yeah.
So they placed second.
The answer, person that almost got the job, they got second. So silver medalist, right? So the idea behind that is just because somebody wasn't a match for that last job because they got beat out by a stronger candidate, keep track of who your people were that made it through what we consider greens, meaning like good, and just because, just keep track of those. We used to call them, when I worked for management recruiters, place on POJOs, place on existing job orders, right? So get that candidate, and then you can start working them around. And then, it's great if you have a new rec that opens up. The hiring manager can't figure out how the hell you did it when suddenly you just say, oh yeah, here's a candidate for you. They're like, whoa. And the last thing, I think I talked about the CRM database that we leverage, which is something that I do. I do some college recruiting as well. So how many people do college recruiting as part of their job too? Okay, here's something that I do, is I will, whether it be if I go to a diversity conference, whether I go to an MBA conference, whether I go to any conferences or any college recruiting, I'll save that year on my hard drive. Then what I do is I put it into a CRM tool, and then when I know that, say, my marketing team needs somebody with 4 years of experience, I go 4 years, I look at that group, and I'm like, here's my target list. Then what I can do is I can easily then say, stock my pond. I'll go shoot my email address out to him and say, hey, I remember you from the college days way back when we were recruiting, 4 years, been by, I know you got some great experience, want to give you a heads up, here's a new job that just opened up, don't know if, I know at one time you were definitely interested in PepsiCo, don't know if you're open to reload, what your deal is right now, but it's a great model. So you can see how you can start using these interchangeably, that you can start stocking the pond with your CRM or your silver medalists or whatever, okay? All right, some other things. What I'm going to do is talk about contrast strategies. Anybody ever heard of a guy named Lefkowitz? Wow, good. He's somebody that I actually, I got his situational guide when I started off in my internship in college, memorized the thing. He was known for scripts and following scripts and doing all these other things. But he used to do this thing that was called contra strategies, and I'll talk about it a little bit later in some of the other slides. But his model is, if everybody's doing this, do that, but don't go this way. All right? Because it's some of the things that you can do. If everybody's going to Monster or Career Builder, of course you need to do that. But what else can you be doing? Any way that you can be proactive versus reactive, kind of some of the things, a silver medalist versus, waiting for the job requisition or the job order to come into you and then going out and finding the candidates, making sure you got that, always having that pipeline of candidates. How do you do it? How do you organize? What's the way you do it? Do you use Outlook? Do you use notes? Because, it's real easy in Outlook to have notes fields that you can just say, hey, notes, here you go. Here's some people. Jay?
Do you keep in contact and engage with your silver medalists, or do you just only reach back out to them again when you have an opportunity that matches them?
Question up front was, do you still keep in contact with your silver medalists and also some of the candidates even in your CRM, to keep them warm, or do you just wait until you reach out? Actually, one of the things that we do, and one of the things that I was with the CRM tool especially, is whenever there's news things like, hey, PepsiCo just brought back our bottlers and Pepsi Americas, blast it out to them as a mailer. Got to keep them warm, got to keep them interested. We also do that for our alumni, which are the boomerangs as well. So, it works quite well. Answer your question? Okay. These last three, best practices in the industry. You guys are hopefully getting the opportunity today. You'll hear some best practices. You'll hear some great things. Implement those as you can. But the bullet underneath this one is something that 100% I believe in. I studied this in school. Anybody heard of Deming? Okay. Deming, basically what he was known for was taking an idea, adopting it as your own, adapting it, and becoming more adept at it than the person who you got the idea from. What he did was after World War II, I didn't even think about this spin in with the war theme until just now, but what he did was he was our consultant that we gave to Japan after the war. So what he gave them is, the way that we make cars, the way that we do everything else, and he helped them with some consulting. If you guys had the opportunity to study him sometime, he's amazing. But his idea was adopt an idea, adapt it, and then become more adept. I would tell you with any stuff that I'm presenting up here, any of these, take it, steal it, make it better. All right? It's all yours. All right. And then the last thing is, are you an innovator or are you a follower? And then sticking with the kind of war theme here, there's the one thing, anybody rush fan? Me? Okay. I'm a big music fan. Manhattan Project, there was a thing that, from a war standpoint, they said whoever found it first would be sure to do their worst they always had before. The idea was the nuclear bomb. Whoever would get that would win the war. And so there was this rush for innovation. And the thing is, it's all about, are you the innovator or you the follower? The big thing is you want to make sure that you are trying to stay on the forefront of technology. Because a lot of times technology is what wins wars. All right. I haven't looked over here. Anybody watching this one? Am I getting any little feedback over here? Speed up? Shut up? Oh, okay. A little behind? Okay. I just want to know if I'm getting any feedback here. So, airstrike, infantry, and ground. What I would tell you, I didn't update this as much as I could. But when you're thinking about it, are you going in for an airstrike or are you going infantry? Airstrike more or less electronic, or are you going in for a face-to-face? Yeah, with your customers. What are they seeing you do? Are you kind of going air, or are you going white? This post and pray thing, are you just posting a job out to Monster? Are you posting a job out to Career Builder and hoping, praying that those resumes come in? Or what are you doing, or what are your tactics to get the candidates?